Greetings and salutations. Welcome to this episode of Playwright Spotlight. Before we begin, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and share the show with a friend. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel. My guest today is a playwright, director, and screenwriter, and holds a BFA in Theater Arts from New York University. He has written lyrics and libretto for several musicals, including Quadroom, music and lyrics by Joe Sample and Jonathan Brooke, premiered in Houston. Por Siempre Navidad, music by Maria Isabel Murillo, played 2 consecutive seasons in Bogota, Colombia, and his play Nobody's Home, winner of the Road Theater Company's Best Play Summer Playwrights Festival 2014. Other plays include Apartments, Duck Dancing, Identical Twins from Baltimore, and Madly in Love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marc Mantell.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in. Now, okay, we talked a little bit right before this, and now I'm really intrigued because we're talking dates of a play that you wrote that won an award in 2014, but you're showing me stuff that was way before 2014. So,
Nobody's Home.
Exactly. But we might as well get into that now because I've already ruined it. I don't want to make people wait. So, how does Nobody's Home get into a 2014 Playwrights Festival? Do they not have a strict guidelines of when a play was written or anything like that?
That's an interesting question, and
you can
there
go ahead
is
and move
an
that
answer
forward to
it.
you just in case they can't hear you.
Okay, I did not submit it to the Playwrights Festival.
Interesting. Okay.
It was submitted by a lady who works in NoHo Senior Arts.
Okay.
She took my name off the title.
Okay.
She submitted the play, and it won. Throughout the country, it won. When the theater found out that I was a tenant in the building, they were very upset about this, that I won the contest. I didn't submit the play, but there was a talk back where I discussed this, and the lady who submitted it in the building, who worked for a group called Engage, she knew it was going to win because it deals with people who are in their 70s.
Interesting, okay.
Senior citizens. And it won. But this play goes back a long time.
Right.
It was my first play. I was 24 years old, I believe, when I wrote it. And it has been read by some of the most prominent actresses in the industry.
Well, from what you've shown me, it's been performed by some of them as well? Is that what you... No, that was just read by. She only read it. Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But yeah. Okay, yes. Continue, please.
Yes.
And I'm going to this up just a little bit more towards it. Perfect.
The only Nobody's Home was performed in California for, I believe, 12 performances at a church on Franklin Avenue in Hollywood. And it was double cast. And there were named performers in both casts, star performers. It was directed by a wonderful director, actress, Rae Allen. And the company was incredible. But it only ran a certain amount of performances.
Sure.
So it shouldn't have been reviewed because you have to have a certain amount of performances for a play.
Correct.
Well, the Los Angeles Times contacted the church and said, we would like to see the show, and we will write a review. And if you don't want us to publish it, we won't. Well, word got out to all the newspapers, Variety. Everybody came to see the show, and they reviewed it. Mm-hmm. And the LA Times called it the best play of the season.
Now, how many more performances did you get after? So
that was it.
So it wrapped up. They still reviewed it, but nobody could go see it.
At the church, and it was double cast, and the cast, they were incredible. Just wonderful actresses.
So you said this is your first play.
My first play.
All right,
Yes.
so let's go into your journey into playwriting for somebody who's like, I'm going to sit down and read a play or write a play, and then to have the caliber. Did you want now? Should we leave it as a mystery on the caliber of people that read this that you showed me, or should we get into your journey first, and then let's do that. Let's get into your journey first, and then when we get into Nobody's Home, then we can talk about the bragging rights that you have.
Sounds good.
All right, great. So what do we got? Well, how'd you start?
How did I start?
Yeah.
The play Nobody's Home.
So you just sat down one day and you're like, and at this point you said you're 24?
24.
Okay, I'm going to sit down and write a play about.
No, I never said that.
Okay, so what was the journey? How'd you start? What was the process?
I was in Florida. I was an actor, young actor, and I was doing the play The Impossible Years in Florida. And I used to go to these cafeterias that were near the hotel that I was staying at. And there was one cafeteria off the beaten track, which was usually the actors would eat at the cafeterias that were close to the theater. It was a very large theater. I would find these off-center places. One day I went for breakfast to this cafeteria, and it was not big. And I saw a lady sitting by herself on the side, and she was hitting her face. Mm-hmm. And I got very upset, and I didn't know, why is she doing this? She looked to be about 30 or 40 years old, but she was talking to herself, and she kept hitting her face. And I got very disturbed by this, and I looked around at other tables, and I saw two elderly ladies sitting together and just having tea, putting the tea bags into the water. And I saw another table where there were these ladies, and they were very happy. They were so happy to see each other, and they were greeting each other. And I noticed that they had cups on the table and one serving of toast. I went back the next day, and the same ladies were there. And I couldn't stop writing. I didn't edit it. It just wrote itself.
Sure.
And that's how Nobody's Home was written.
I don't want to delve too much into this, but I'm curious, and we can talk after. How much, if any, did you research, or did you just, as far as the self-inflicting abuse woman, did you delve into that at all?
In the play, one of the ladies tries to stop her from hitting herself, and they become friends. And the whole point of the play is it's summer, winter, fall, and spring. And these group of ladies become very close, and they start to care about each other, take care of each other. And the major problem in the play is the cafeteria is going to close. And where are these ladies going to go? One of them's homeless. The other ladies all have different lifestyles. And that's what happens over the course of a year, that they care for each other.
Did you take creative license that the cafeteria was going to close, or was that really going to happen?
I made that up.
No, which is great. I mean, you have to have some kind of catalyst to get this,
But I noticed that what happened at the cafeteria when they say, "Okay, ladies, you got to leave now. We're washing up."
Right.
It's going to get late in the day. And I heard workers, but they let them sit there. It's almost like there used to be a place in New York called the Automat.
Oh yes,
Horn and Hardart, and people would go in there. And I remember as a little kid seeing a person who I knew was homeless, and they'd have a hot cup of water, and they would put ketchup into it, and they'd stir it around, and that was their soup. And I remember that as a childhood, from my childhood.
Sure.
But the play in Florida, it wrote itself.
So you took we're closing for the evening and applied that to we're going to close permanently, and you guys are going to have nowhere to go.
Yeah, where are you going to go? Nobody's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was had you already gone through your BFA at New York University at that point?
Yes, I did as an actor. I didn't write. Yeah, I'd gone through that.
You said you didn't edit at all. Did you do a stage reading? You just and then
Nobody's home.
Yeah. What was that whole? What were the next steps? Once you got through what you felt was a complete.
Oh, I remember now.
Okay.
I remember now. One of the actresses that was one of my teachers in New York, and that was Rae Allen. She's a Tony Award-winning Broadway musical from Damn Yankees,
sure. Yeah.
and she was a teacher of mine at NYU, and I contacted her, or I ran into her. I can't remember what the situation was in Hollywood, and I asked her if she would read this play that I'd written. She took the play and she said, "This is mine."
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a good compliment.
And she found the actresses. She found the space at the church, and that's where those readings were done.
So in that regard, were there rewrites and things like that? When I say edit, it's kind of editing, but, obviously there's going to be some kind of adjustments where this...
The adjustments were if there was too many words in a line.
Sure.
I mean, they were mostly edits. There weren't any changes in characters or structure.
No rewritten endings?
No, the ending stayed the same.
Just curious. I'll bring that up.
The ending stayed exactly the same. And I didn't even have to rewrite anything for the actresses. Nobody came up with any thoughts. Could we do this? Could we change that? It just played.
I wonder if it was a different time back then where it was like the words were written in stone and you don't change anything, where it's like now, there seems to be this, I don't know what the phrase is, but it's like, well, I don't feel my character would say this, or this is clumsy, or I don't like this word, I don't like this line. And I wonder if that comes from a time where this is the word of the playwright. This is written from God.
I don't know about that. Again, I started as an actor, and plays that I was in new plays, and there were questions about lines and editing, but the writing aspect of my life was completely different.
So you played, it opened up, Rae Allen is behind it. You get your, performances, you get reviewed, and then it closes, and then the doors are shut from that. When I say doors are shut, I don't mean literally the theater. When I mean that the doors are shut on Nobody's Home. Until when?
Until this contest.
In 2014?
Yeah, that I didn't submit it.
Well, okay, then where do the correspondences that you showed me prior to us starting come from? If that was 2014 and I saw one that was dated 1984.
Katherine Hepburn, I don't know how she got the script. I have no idea how Katherine Hepburn got the play.
Just so everybody knows what we're talking about, go ahead and bust out the paper that you showed me, so I can try to show it to the audience that might be watching. Yeah.
In the middle is the letter that states.
So let me read this real quick, and then I'll put it in front of the camera. Archives.nypl.org. Katherine Hepburn Papers. The Katherine Hepburn Papers consist of correspondence, scripts, photographs, scrapbooks. Includes correspondence from Marc Mantell, October 24th, 1984. Mr. Marc Mantell. Dear Mr. Mantell, Katherine Hepburn has read your play, Nobody's Home, and with considerable interest passed it on to me. I got a big kick out of much of your humor in the play and your sense of character as I know did, and that's where it cuts off.
That was through a Broadway producer.
So just so everybody's watching can take a look at that.
She sent it to many producers and contacted me 3 times.
Herself? Or
yes.
Okay. Did you ever speak to her, or was it just
very? I don't want to do an imitation, but
No,
I will try
no,
to tell you what one of the. You must have faith. I have faith. Keep going. I'm going to continue sending your work out. Kate. Phone slams down.
That's a huge
That's just one of them. But I had 3 phone calls during a period of time from her. And she sent it to various actresses. And I got, I come home one day and there's a bouquet of roses in front of my apartment sent to me from Celeste Holm, the actress. I loved your play. I'm thinking to myself, what is this? I mean, and no way to respond to Celeste Holm for a thank you. Loved your play. It went to Joan Crawford. I mean, it went everywhere from one actress to another. They would read it and send it on to another actress. You've got to read this play. Joan Crawford wouldn't have been right for it. I mean, it's just that they read this and they appreciated the work, and they would send it to a friend of theirs. Said, you got to read this play. This young guy wrote this play.
Did it get any life based on those correspondences? Did anybody like to pick it up and throw it at their agent or manager and say, I got to be in this, put this up, I don't care what it takes? That you're aware of, because you don't.
Not that I'm aware of. Again, Rae Allen would have known.
It's written, it's performed in L.A. Rae Allen's behind it. Where does not that this is the big part of the story, because the journey of this, well, I guess it might be, it's still part of the journey. Where does the publishing aspect come into play? How did it get published? What were the steps that you took? Did Rae submit it for you to get published? Can people still find it? Is it out there in Sam French or Concord Publishing or Dramatists?
No.
Because it looks like, can I see that paper
Yes.
again? Do you mind?
It has not been published.
Okay, because what I'm looking at, okay, so basically this is basically the playbill? Is that what this is? I mean, it says Landmark Alliance Theater presents, so is that what this is?
That was the reading, the Rae Allen's the stage readings that were done out here.
Okay. So I just assumed that was
at the bottom is a letter from a Broadway
got it.
producer, because Katherine Hepburn sent him the play.
Got it. Okay.
The answer for why didn't the Broadway producer produce this? It's a play about 6 old women. That was the answer. He said, it's wonderful, but this was a time when hair was opening on Broadway. It just wasn't going to happen. And I never published the play with Samuel French. I didn't do anything with it. When I was a young kid, really, that was my first play. I then moved on to other.
Let's go into that aspect. So
Okay.
you wrote this play, and now where does your journey as a theater artist continue? Do you continue on with the acting? Do you say, I have this great success with playwriting, so I'm going to continue with that?
I direct.
Okay.
I direct, which is what I'm doing now, and
Right, sure.
directing a play from one of the ladies you interviewed.
Yes.
Yes.
But you've written since, so at what point do you decide I'm going to jump back into playwriting?
I had plays produced. Again, I would have to look at my own
Sure.
my own work to tell you. Okay, here's one. I wrote a play called Apartments.
Yes.
And I wrote it for a wonderful actress, Eve Segal. And it opened at one of the Equity Waiver Theaters in Hollywood. I believe it was the Zephyr Theater.
I am
Theater of
familiar
Note.
Both of those I'm
And
familiar with, yep.
it won an award for Eve. For me, it was called the best play of the season. LA Times, Sublime, Tour de Force play. You must see this play. And it ran at 4 different theaters with Eve Segal. It's a one-woman play.
Sure. Okay.
She took a break. A year later, without telling me, she booked the play at the Hudson Theater, and she changed the title.
Oh.
And the title now was, quote unquote, in Marc Mantell's apartment, ... mainly, starring Eve Segal. And she
Very
won
clever.
another award. So Dear Eve did this. And it was a fascinating piece. But
Sure. But what made you? All right, so you finish Nobody's Home. You have this great experience. At what point do you decide you're going to sit back down and continue writing, or do you give it a break, and then, all right, I got an idea again?
I was still pursuing acting, and working as an actor. I have to look at my notes because I totally forgot. I actually yesterday totally forgot that I wrote all of these plays.
I was going to razz you because trying to find a bio about your playwriting was quite an endeavor. So once I actually found a list of plays, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about you being so successful and then just like kind of putting it on the back burner and, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what the situation was. I wrote a musical. Called Intimate Strangers. I directed it. It was given a full staged reading by the Long Beach Civic Light Opera. They did a series of musicals, A Chorus Line, Gypsy. They had a series of musicals that they would do. And they decided, let's take a chance on a new property.
Yeah.
I submitted this piece to them. I said, let's do a stage reading of it, and we'll see if we can put it into a season. So it was done, and it had a wonderful cast. It had a movie star, Broadway movie star Sherry North in it, and it was given this reading, and the audience loved it. It was never produced, and the Long Beach Civic Light Opera actually ended their series of plays the next year. So what did I do with that? Nothing. It just sits in a drawer.
Sure. I mean, I know that happens, but I can sit down and recall, or not recall. I can reboot, if you will, things that I also sat down and, you know, haven't even submitted, but I know what I want to continue working on. So at what point do you, at whatever age you wrote the next piece after Nobody's Home, get to a point where, like, I'm going to sit down and write now. I got to take a break from acting, or maybe acting's not happening for me right now. I haven't gotten directing, or maybe I am directing, but right now the phone's not ringing. So I'm going to sit down and write. And is there a reprocessing? It's like, am I going to have the same success as Nobody's Home? Do I remember how to do it? What's the time span between Nobody's Home and whatever your next piece was? And if you can remember that, and that's not, and I don't mean that as an insulting comment. What I mean by that is I'm listening to you and you're saying, I forgot I even wrote this. So what mental state is that where it's just like you kind of like check out, you write something, you submit it, and you move on to the next thing, which is like, I forgot I even did this. Like, what's that? What is that like? If that makes sense. It
makes me feel like I'm crazy.
I know, but I don't look at it like that. It's just like, I look at this as in phases of like, I've got an idea, I'm going to write it. I don't care if anything comes of it. I'll submit it. Let me move on to the next project. And that could be, there's nothing wrong with that. I kind of think it's a great thing where it's like, doesn't matter what happens to it, I'm going to keep moving. And that's why I really want to dive into this, because there are so many playwrights or performers or directors out there that are just, I got to find my next thing and I got to make things happen, where it doesn't matter. Just give me my next thing. Let me make my next thing happen. Towards like, I did that. I completed it. Let's move on, if you will. And I'm going to, and hopefully you'll know the reference. Do you know the Talking Heads, David Byrne?
No.
Burning Down the House, Once in a Lifetime, Psycho Killer. A big band back in the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the whole thing with David Byrne is like, everybody wanted them to do a reunion tour, but his whole thing was like, I've already done that. That's in the past. I don't care about that anymore. I didn't realize that. I was like, wow, what a jerk that he doesn't want to get back with his former band and, tour and do, but I guess I forgot who I talked to that worked with him, and his whole mentality was, I've already done that. And that's why I'm saying there may be playwrights or listeners out there who find themselves stuck in a rut where it's just like they're so stuck on something they've done in the past, where it's like, it doesn't matter, that's already happened, move on to your next thing. Do you think that that's what happened with you?
I never thought about it. Again, I was an actor, and that's what I was trying to do, get my next job. Again, Rae Allen comes into my life.
Sure.
And I have to pick her up at this actress's house for whatever reason. Well, this actress is someone who I am crazy about. Renee Taylor. I get to meet Renee Taylor. I'm picking Rae Allen up. That night I go home and I write a play. It just came to me. 2-character comedy called Duck Dancing. For 3 months, twice a week, I would pick Rae Allen up and we would go to Dom DeLuise's home. And he'd fix us lunch, and Renee Taylor and Dom DeLuise would read my play out loud. I'm here to say I have never laughed so much in my life. It was painful how funny this was. And each time they read the piece, they added new things to it. Not new dialogue, new attitudes, new line readings. It was unbelievable. And Dom DeLuise says, we're going to do this. We're going to do this play. Okay, when do we get a time period with the two of them? Renee Taylor, she's on this series. He's doing this. I know what he says. I'm going to fix us a pizza, and then we're going to go to the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater. That's where we're doing Duck Dancing. Okay. It's going to be done at the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater in Florida. I'm thrilled. We're still meeting once a week at Dom DeLuise's house, and it's hysterical. And he's fixing us lunch, and they read the play each time, and I'm in seventh heaven. Duck Dancing's going to be done. The Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater closes. Okay? The two of them, they're going to find a place to do this. Dom DeLuise gets a movie, so it can't be done for a 4-month period. Okay? Renee Taylor gets a TV series. Duck Dancing doesn't happen with the two of them. I would have liked to have seen that on stage with the two of them.
Okay, well, so then here's where No, what title? Not throw you under the bus, not chastise either. But so duck dancing didn't happen with the two of them.
It did.
Oh, it did. Oh, then excuse me.
Didn't happen with the two
apologies.
of them. No, it was then going to be done with Robert Morse and Loretta Swit.
Oh, wow.
And they were going to try to find a place. So I would spend time with Robert Morse, who is hysterically funny. And I mean, just the two of them. Okay, I'll buy that. They're great, these two. Again, where's it going to happen? They're trying to get the time period. He gets Sugar, which is going to be done at the Amundsen, I believe it was, the revival of Sugar. Didn't happen with Bobby Morse. Okay. Here's where it goes downhill. Rae Allen's getting very frustrated because these wonderful stars who want to do this play, and she wants to direct the play. That's it. We're doing it. I found a theater in Hollywood. Duck dancing is going to be done. We have a leading man who's on a well-known TV series, comedy series. I say, okay, I'll buy it. The actress. I have no say-so in who this actress is. I'd never heard of her. Rae says, she's doing it. You are going to be pleasantly surprised. You've never heard of her, but she's quite a name. Goes into rehearsal, and it's not working for me. It's not funny. Reason being is our leading actor was going through a divorce.
Yikes.
Okay? The leading actress was not funny. Play opens. It got good reviews. I wasn't happy with it. There's a performance, a matinee performance where the leading actor can't show up. The understudy's going to go on. He only has 1 day's rehearsal. He goes on with the leading lady who is not funny. I go to see the show and I think, oh my God, what am I going to watch now? It's hysterically funny. The leading actress, what was she doing? She's wonderful. What went on? She apologized to me after the show. And she said, I don't know what I was thinking, Mark. I don't know. She was excellent. I'm not going to mention the two performers, but sure. Okay. if Rae Allen was right. This lady was incredible. But why did this happen the way it happened? So that's duck dancing. Never did it again. Just.
Do you think that, or better yet, do you think that you owe all of your playwriting success to Rae Allen?
No.
Okay, I'm glad to hear
I owe
that.
A lot of it.
Okay, fair enough.
Because she was there for me, and she was an acting teacher of mine at NYU. So and I adored the lady.
At what point do you venture out on your own and start getting your work out there without Rae's help?
Okay, this is an interesting one. I had a musical that I wrote called Identical Twins from Baltimore. It ran at a theater in Hollywood, Tiffany Theater. It had a 12-week run. It had a lovely, lovely actress in it, Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's gone on to fame and fortune, Dreamgirls, and one series after another. It was then set to open in London. My musical is going to open in London with Cheryl Lee Ralph, David Holliday, Elizabeth Seal. She was the original Irma la Douce. And, are you ready for this? Do you remember Divine?
Not from Prince.
The drag queen, Divine.
Oh, that Divine,
Yes,
sorry.
that Divine. His real name was Glenn Milstead. He was ending his career as a drag performer, and he had already done a thriller, a movie, as Glenn Milstead. But he agreed to go back in drag to do this show. It was going to be directed by Tony Award-winning director Vivian Matalon. The musical Identical Twins from Baltimore are about a pair of identical twin sisters. One is black, beautiful, sexy. She's a recording star, movie star, and her identical twin sister, who is 350 pounds, white, a ballerina, and played by a man. Now, you can laugh at this. The people in the show, all the characters in the show, they see identical twin sisters. What we're seeing in the audience is something completely different. And that's the whole point of the show, which is very, very funny. And it was set to open. It didn't happen.
So
Divine passed away. That was...
It's all these tragedies that seem to interrupt everything. So... what kind of time frame are we looking at between each one of those pieces? And again, what's the catalyst? I mean, are you like, because you're saying I'm an actor, I'm looking for a next job, but at the same time, you're not writing plays for yourself, which seems to be the trend with a lot of.
Never wrote for myself.
Right. So what's the catalyst that you're writing these plays that aren't for you? What made you sit down and, and I don't mean this as an insult. We're not looking at computers and word processors, and I'm assuming you're doing typewriters, and are you ripping pages out? How far back are you going? What's this whole process of sitting down to write this? And are you taking notes? Are you outlining? Are you just vomiting words on the page and seeing what sticks and then like scratching things out? And then like restarting, what is that like for some, especially for insight into playwrights who might be listening, where they don't have this struggle that everything's handed to them technologically. What was that whole process like for you in regards to having to work without the?
I understand what you're saying. What was handed to me, and the one piece that I had to do homework for and really be very precise was the musical Quadroon.
Okay.
Because it's based on a real person.
Okay.
And I had to do my homework. It's a fascinating story. It's about Henriette Delille. She was a beautiful quadroon in New Orleans.
For those that don't know, what's a quadroon?
Quadroon is mixed ethnicity. Is that the right word?
Quad meaning four, so I'm assuming she had
some black blood. Here's the interesting thing about New Orleans during the Civil War and after. Are you ready for this? Civil War time. In New Orleans, if you were a black slave, on Sundays, you were free.
Interesting.
All the slaves in New Orleans were free on Sundays. So they would go be on the streets. This is where tap dancing started. They'd be on the streets. A black slave, free on Sunday, could eat in a space that a white person was in. There'd be no questions made. There were no fights. There were no problems. The slaves in New Orleans were terrified if they even thought that it'd be taken away from their masters. It was a whole other society. Henriette Delille was a beautiful woman, and she had her own slaves. And she was known to walk around New Orleans with her slave next to her, and what she was doing at night, she was helping slaves that escaped from wherever to try to come into New Orleans. She would bring them in there. She was also helping to pray for and bury slaves. This is what she did from midnight until the morning. What did Henriette Delille want to be? she wanted to enter the church. And people pray now. They continue to pray to Henriette Delille. It's a fascinating story. And so I'm introduced to this writer, Joe Sample, who's a well-known jazz artist. And he wants to do this musical.
Why did you make it a musical?
Excuse me?
Why did you make it a musical?
I didn't. It was his idea.
Okay. So you wrote it as a play. He comes in and he wants to do it.
I didn't write. I met Joe Sample. I'm introduced to Joe Sample. He tells me what this idea. He had been interviewing playwrights left and right.
Okay, now I
didn't want to have anything to do with them. I meet him in a restaurant in Hollywood through a literary agent that I was with, and we sit staring at me. He's just looking at me, and he tells me, "Well, I have the lyricist for this play, and I don't want to hear from you that you're not going to work with this lyricist." And I said, "Well, who is it?" And he said, "Well, you probably won't know who it is." He said, "But I'm only working with Norman Gimbel." I said, "I know who Norman Gimbel is." And I recite all the work that Norman Gimbel did. And I said, "He would be wonderful." So Joe says, "We're going to work together." So that's how Quadroon started. But it was Joe Sample's piece.
So you threw something out there that's intriguing at this point. How? Because you say you're with a literary agent. What is that time frame? How many plays do you have under your belt at that point, and what's the meeting about?
Well, she was not working with me as a playwright. She worked with me for screenwriting.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So she just happened to know Joe Sample was looking for someone to write a musical, and she knew that I loved musicals and I wrote musicals. So she introduced us. That was my meeting with Joe Sample. But Doris was my literary agent for screenwriting.
Okay, got it. And then you had already been writing musicals. What transitioned you into that?
Into what?
Writing musicals. Because you said you were meeting with this literary agent because she knew you wrote musicals. So what transitioned you from Nobody's Home into deciding that musicals were going to be your forte, or that's something you wanted to sample with?
It wasn't a transition. I just started writing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have was there anything you had to overcome coming from writing just traditional plays and then say, I'm going to write a musical? And then did you have to relearn anything? Did you have to learn something new? It just came all naturally?
Just came. My background was musicals. So
so you just kind of took what you knew.
Yeah. And good example was writing Por Siempre Navidad. I mean, here I am going to do a musical in Bogota, Colombia. How did that happen? It happened from a director who I had worked with once before, who directed a show out in Bogota and suggested me to them. And because the idea for the musical is about Santa Claus. Who was Santa Claus? He really was a person. Right. But the musical is set in a time frame that goes between today in Hollywood to New York in the 50s, New York in the 20s, Rome in the 18th century. It goes back and forth and is inside the mind of a writer who lives in Hollywood. So that was the structure I had to deal with. It had the situation of dealing with Santa Claus. Who was Santa Claus? Which is interesting. I won't go into that now, but there really was a person that existed.
And what, because we talked about Quadroon and the research you had to do for that. Was there any research you had to do with Por Siempre? Because it sounds like there's a bunch of different traditions.
Research with Por Siempre Navidad, because the whole myth of Santa Claus, and to realize there really was a person at one time period, and then to go back to what is fact and what is fiction.
Sure.
And my writing the musical, those are the questions that this character, this writer in Hollywood is dealing with, because he has to write this piece about Santa Claus. Who was this person? Not who you think it was. So we're in the mind of the writer writing this musical, and at the same time, the musical is taking hold, and we're seeing the different versions of this musical. It was very interesting, and also what's so interesting about being. Oh, I have a funny story. Do you want to hear it?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Bogota. Whoa, okay. First class ticket on this plane to go to Bogota, Colombia. My musical's going to be done there?
Sure.
Nobody tells me anything. I get to Bogota, Colombia, and there's a hotel that no one tells me anything about Dramamine or the high altitude. I'm the new star at this theater.
Sure.
I get off the plane. I'm at the hotel. I don't know where the hell I am. I don't know who the hell I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see straight. I come down the elevator from my hotel room. I have the evening off because the next day I'm going to be in rehearsal. I'm terrified. I'm walking outside on the streets, and in my mind, I don't know where. All I can think of is, I need an egg. I need an egg. That's how crazy I was.
Sure.
Right up to the opening night of my musical on stage at this theater. And I get to see a full-blown production of my musical. Incredible. I mean, they had circus performers, Cirque du Soleil. I mean, it was incredible production. The entire 2 weeks I was in Bogota, Colombia, I was out of my head. Totally out of my head.
So never came back down.
I never came back. It's slowly, but as long as I got my egg, it was okay.
And I hope you did. Probably more than one.
More than one, yeah.
How has your playwriting influenced your directing? Or better yet, has your directing influenced your playwriting?
The playwriting, of course, influences my directing. I'm working now with Donna Scarantino. Yeah. So I get ideas as a director, but also as a playwright. But it's not my place to write somebody else's play. But I'll bring up situations where I'll say, what would happen?
Sure.
I'm talking to Donna. What would happen, say, if this happened, and what if we went in this direction? And then Donna would go back and write. And she said, oh, that sounds great. But I'm not rewriting her play. I'm coming up with ideas as a director. And I love directing actors because it's my whole life. I started acting when I was on stage when I was 12 years old. It's my life.
And that's why I brought up earlier. I said we'd get back to about. I said rewritten endings, which is probably it's probably an unfair phrasing, but Dawn had said that the ending of the last play that she had done was changed. Dr. Freud, I presume that you had maybe suggested changing the ending, which she said worked phenomenally.
It's going to be fabulous if they trying to do the production again. The last performance of the show, the audience went wild. They got every single line, jokes, reactions. I mean, it's a fun piece, a crazy piece. Really.
That's wonderful. And before we wrap up, I do want to get back to one thing because we don't know the finale of the situation that occurred between you and the woman that submitted your play, unbeknownst to you. So, because you said that the theater was upset that, one, you were a resident.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? She submits your play, takes the name off, it wins, and now what happens after that? What's the rest of the story?
And the rest of the story is they had a stage reading of it,
Okay.
and a talk back with me, and that was it. That was it. The theater wanted, they were really walking around, bowing their heads down.
So I don't understand was it because you were a resident? Because
I was a resident in the building where the theater was. The head department that runs the arts in NoHo Senior Arts is called Engage. And the head of Engage, she did this on her own. I mean, I was charmed by it. It was very sweet of her and very clever. She knew it was going to win this contest.
I'm trying to figure out what they're so upset about. Like we're kind of still in what's called the NoHo Arts District. And do they expect that the people that move in there aren't going to be part of the industry and they don't write anymore, and that
the Road Theater Company is in the building.
Sure, okay.
I'm sure they're paying $1 a year to have their residency in the building, their theater.
Okay.
Their offer to the building, anybody who'd like to come help us do set design, come help us show people to their seats.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Great. That's their interaction with the building. The playwriting contest was throughout the United States.
Sure. Yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
So the Engage office was just going to test this out. That's why they took my play, took my name off it, and it's dealing again with senior citizens. Sent it in, and it wins the contest. The Road Theater Company was not happy about this.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to unpack here. I'm trying to figure out where the beef is with them.
I lived in the building. That's the first thing.
Is there a conflict of interest? Is there something that's
They stayed very quiet about it. They gave me the talk back, and there was the publicity that it won Best Play of the season of this contest, and that was it. No way were they going to do it, and I really wouldn't even have wanted them to do it.
How many residents come down on any given competition? Let's say it's the summer 2014. Well, actually, let's not use 2014 because you won that. And so let's assume that more people came down to participate because it was a resident in the building, opposed to, any other time because it is open to the world.
I don't think anybody submits their work to...
No, but that's not my point. My point is, let's say a nobody from... God, I can't say that. That's me because it seems like I'm picking on some state or city. But let's say somebody that's unknown from Des Moines, Iowa, comes and submits something and they get chosen. It's not like a bunch of people from Des Moines are going to come support. He might bring, he or she might bring their spouse and maybe their kids. And depending on who else is showcased, how big's that audience going to be? Whereas... And then how many on top of that live there is like, I don't have anything better to do. I'm going to go down and see the stage readings of everything that's going on tonight.
Well, there are people in the building who go down there.
Sure, but that's my point.
Yeah.
There's some people that go down there, but now, we've got Marc Mantell who lives in the building. So some might go down there, but now Mark's in it. 50 of us are going to go down.
They didn't want to do that.
Maybe they should have.
The company didn't want to do. No, it just.
It seems like it was a happy accident that really could have drawn in a lot more audience.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, and maybe that's why. What are the perks of being a resident? Do you guys get free tickets to the road, or you guys?
Oh, they
discount?
give. I believe the Road Theater Company still offers people in the building to come to the previews. Just come downstairs and
Sure.
yeah, you can see the shows for free. And people do it.
Sure. And by the way, just for our listeners, I mean, the road has been mentioned on this podcast a lot. As a matter of fact, will be in the next few weeks as well. The road produces and stages some wonderful productions. So it's not to say that we're picking on them. What I'm basically getting down to is where the conflict of interest comes into and why. So,
and there are two Road Theater. They have two spaces.
Do they still have their second? Because I know the one upstairs of Lancashire Arts Center closed a long time ago.
Oh, it did close.
Oh, yeah.
I used to go see the shows there. I liked them a lot.
Yeah, they closed.
I didn't know that.
Oh, North Hollywood has suffered. They lost a lot of their theaters. There's a new space upstairs at Lancashire Arts Center, but unfortunately, the road, they lost their first space. So I think it's just now downstairs of the Senior Arts Center. So, what are you working on? Well, no. First of all, hang on. No, let me ask you this, and then we'll unpack the second question because I still have a beef. What are you working on right now, playwriting wise?
Just nothing. Okay. Playwriting. Not a thing.
Are you still writing? Do you still have some ideas bubbling around?
No.
Why is that?
I never set out to be this writer. That's the whole point. The plays.
You had a ton of success.
I got the jobs. That's what's so interesting about the whole thing. I just got this work.
And that goes back to my comment earlier about setting the ego aside, or that I've done that. It's just let me get to the next thing. I've already done that before, so let me go and find my next thing that I'm going to enjoy. So that's really what it was. It's like, I did that already. I don't need to do it anymore. Is that really what it is?
It never occurred to me that I was this playwright.
Okay.
I was an actor. I also was a dancer. I was teaching dance too, and I wanted to be in musicals. I wanted to do this. I then started teaching acting. For a long time, I taught acting.
Sure.
I was in some incredible productions. I mean, as an actor, worked at Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Canada. I mean, that was the whole force in my life: acting, performing, and teaching. The playwriting, it just happened. And again, except for those two productions where I had to do rewrites, they all seemed to write themselves. Some of them were produced, others weren't. And I just kept moving on.
Fair enough. So the second question that we'll really unpack.
Okay, I'm ready for this. Okay.
Where can people find your work?
Good question. They can't.
Yeah,
I never gave it to Samuel French. They can contact me.
Okay, well, that's good.
Or Katherine Hepburn. Contact me directly.
Okay, but why haven't you put it out there? Just out of curiosity, why isn't it on New Play Exchange or submitting it for publication? And with all these accolades and stuff.
I've never been good at submitting my own work. I've never been. Just the way I'm not good at the computer. Okay. I'm just not good at it. I could have given my work to Samuel French, and I didn't do it. I wish I had somebody else taking control in that area. As I said, I had an agent for my screenplays. Right. There's no way that I could do that myself. I needed agency representation. I never pursued that with my plays because I never knew where to go. I mean, I don't know if there are playwriting agents in California. I have no idea. I certainly didn't know it in my 20s and 30s.
Right, sure.
So
I'm just kind of shocked that you're your screenwriting agent at the time wasn't like, yeah, let me send these out as well while we're at it, and kind of.
She didn't know who to send it to. I mean, other than
I know
showing
it was a different
up.
time, but yeah,
showing up at the piece and introducing me to Joe Sample, which was wonderful. I mean, which got me that musical. But she didn't know where to go with it.
So are all your plays in hard copy then, or are they actually on computer files at this point? I only ask because
hard copy. I'm sure I have them somewhere in the computer.
Sure.
I think, but mostly hard copy.
And I hope you keep them in a safe or something like that.
They're in a drawer.
Well, no, I'm just worried more that there's a fire or something.
Listen, until you called me up, I didn't even have to go and write this out. Oh my God, I did this. I totally forgot. I wrote this show. Wow. Oh, here's something I didn't talk to you about. Reverse play.
Okay.
It's a play that can be done in linear order, Act 1 and then Act 2. Okay. Or you could buy a ticket and see Act 2 first and then Act 1. Okay. That was the gimmick in my head.
Sure.
I wrote this play on purpose for a performer that I was crazy about in New York. I went to see my one and only, and Sandy Duncan was in it. And I'm watching the show. I'm always a fan of Sandy Duncan from Peter Pan, but I'm watching the show and I get this feeling that there's a lot of power and anger. I think, I'm going to write a play for Sandy Duncan. I don't know where I got this thought, but I go backstage. I introduced myself to her and I said, I want to write a play for you because this is what I see. And I'm telling you, she's just looking at me and she said, oh, wow. Okay. I write this play. Give it to Sandy. She's going on the road with my one and only. And we plan to meet when she gets to Los Angeles with Tommy Tune and then doing the show. She gives it to her manager, and she said, this is quite something. I don't know how an audience is going to feel seeing me in this piece. It's about a prostitute, a female prostitute and a male prostitute that form this bond. What happens? COVID.
Of course it does.
Goes into a draw. 4 years pass by. I'm doing a production of I'm in West Side Story in Orange County Performing Arts Center. I'm in the production. I'm back to performing. I'm very happy. It's our opening performance, and there's a party, and who comes running up to me? Sandy Duncan. She came to see the show.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, final question.
Yes.
And I think I already know the answer, but that's okay. We're going to ask it anyways. Are you on the socials?
On the what?
On the socials.
What is that?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I don't know how to do the rest of them. I'm so bad at the computer.
That's okay. That's really? Okay. That's why
I'm on Facebook.
I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
And YouTube? I'm not on YouTube, but I watch YouTube. I like
Fair
YouTube
enough. Well, you can watch it. You can watch your episode on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
But, hopefully Tuesday.
Oh, YouTube. Hey.
Yeah. So, Marc Mantell, thank you for coming on to this episode of Playwright Spotlight.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning on to this episode. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Playwright Spotlight. I'm even botching my own outro. Let's try it again, all the way from the beginning. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Playwright Spotlight. Again, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and share the show with a friend. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel. And in the meantime, and until we see each other again, keep writing.